Welcome to IBIS Weather. This is Sarah. This is the update for September 4th, 2025. Do want to apologize for not having a video yesterday. My internet went down, so I was not able to record or upload my video as I was just planning on based off of what I said on Tuesday night. So I do apologize for that, but we are back and ready to go today. And we actually have quite a bit to go over. So I did want to go ahead and kind of show you guys the view of the satellite from the Pacific because we do see two hurricanes out there which we'll be talking about next, and then of course we'll be talking about the future Gabrielle that I think everybody is wanting to know updates and what to expect. So let's go ahead and get started with the Pacific first. So over here close to Dora's center, this is Hurricane Kiko. As you can see, she is making her way what appears to be somewhat of a beeline for Hawaii, which we'll get into more in a little bit. And then the one that's more pending right now for people who are going to feel impacts a lot earlier will be obviously Hurricane Lorena, who will be weakening to a tropical storm and making landfall sometime tomorrow in Baja California, which is a state in the country of Mexico. For the past few days, they have been getting a lot of heavy rain, some wind, and it's going to continue. I think she's still currently a hurricane, but she will be weakening, which is good news. But of course, that really won't make much of a difference for those already living in an area where you're getting a lot of rain from her, have possible mudslides, and of course flooding since she's been causing heavy rain. And of course, we're going to talk about what her remnants will do to the likes of um, other parts of Mexico and Arizona, New Mexico, and of course Texas. As I know, a lot of people probably in Texas right now are having a little bit of anxiety at the thought of having hurricane remnants, tropical system remnants coming in and causing possible devastating flooding as they dealt with earlier this year. So we do have a little bit of good news on that, but let's go ahead and get started with Lorena. So let's look over here. So this is the floater page. I think I clicked on this. I guess I didn't. Okay. So this is again a little bit of a closer up, zoomed up satellite view. As you can see, this is Baja California, part of Mexico, and of course this is Mexico. She is starting to look more disorganized. Looks like she's definitely being sheared out, which is good news, is what we expected. She will be weakening before she makes landfall, but of course it won't, take away any of the impacts that people will be feeling from her. So I'm obviously you guys are already feeling rain and wind over there, even into more mainland part of Mexico, unfortunately, because of her. So hopefully everyone has all their preps ready. If you're still waiting to do a few things, make sure you get that done tonight before she gets close to making landfall tomorrow. Her weather conditions will continue to deteriorate between tonight and tomorrow. So you want to make sure that you are prepared. So, have your shelf-stable food, have your devices charged, and extra batteries for your flashlights or lanterns. If you use external batteries to charge up devices, make sure those are charged up. Have gas for your generator. If you have a gas generator, if you have a battery generator, make sure that's charged. And make sure you check in on other people who may need a little bit more help to get ready. Pay attention to any warnings or issued by your local authorities, of course, including evacuation orders if that does happen. Again, like I said, this shouldn't be too terrible. I think the worst part will obviously be the heavy rain that you guys have been dealing with, and that will probably flooding is the worst part of it. But she is obviously weakening, so this is good news. But you still want to make sure that you are indeed ready for the conditions deteriorating as we get closer to her eventual landfall. Um, okay. Okay, so over here again for Lorena, this is the cone. Okay, she is currently right now a storm. Correction, she is a tropical storm right now. She is kind of lopsided, as you can see by the orange coloration indicating how far her winds go out. And it looks like she will be forming as a depression and skirting away from the coast. She's currently moving northwest at 7 miles per hour. And her current maximum sustained winds are 50 miles per hour. So she's still definitely a tropical storm. She'll have to get below 39 to reach the depression status, which it looks like they're anticipating her doing between this evening and early tomorrow morning, or I guess more midday, I should say, instead of early tomorrow morning. So it does look like they're not anticipating a complete landfall as they were thinking earlier. So that is good, but again, it won't really make much difference for those who are feeling the impacts from her. Um, unfortunately. And of course, you might have some, if you guys are in the coastal areas, you may experience some waves from her. Um, okay. Key messages, as I like to mention these for everyone for each storm. Heavy rainfall, of course, will be associated with her continued impact. Baja California Sur and Sonora, Mexico through tomorrow. Of course, life-threatening flash flood mudslides can happen in northwest Mexico. Moisture will contribute to heavy rainfall across Arizona and New Mexico Saturday. Isolated to scattered instances of flash flooding are also possible across Arizona into Saturday. And of course, life-threatening surf and rip conditions are, going to impact portions of southern and western coasts of Baja California Sur during the next couple of days. This is not unusual for any tropical system. And then earliest reasonable times of tropical storm force winds. So really, you guys have until 8 p.m. tonight. And then it is expected that she will weaken significantly to the point of being a depression. So again, it'll be breezy. You could, of course, get power outages. That's always a possibility, but hopefully it won't be as bad as it could have been if she had maintained category 1 or 2 hurricane strength as she continues to head your way. These are obviously the model track guidance. So as you can see, this is for Euro. It does show at least 3 showing landfall, but most of them are keeping it her center. As she degrades into a tropical depression, she won't really have an eye feature anymore, but she will still have a lower level circulation to a certain degree. And I do think that that will continue to stay offshore for the most part. At least the Euro is thinking that. And then the GFS does show more going across Baja, but a good amount still keeping it off the coast and even some taking it out further west. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. Again, some of these models, because she is degrading, probably aren't going to have a great idea of where she'll go and like where the center will track just because she is weakening. And of course, you need to have, definitely a better designation of like fully formed sensor to really be able to help track and monitor. So obviously that's why we're still seeing widespread as she continues to degrade. But going off again of what was it? Yes, the cone, which again, the cone just indicates where the sensor could go. So it does look like they're saying the sensor could kind of go over a little bit over the coast of Baja California, but not counting all the impacts that will be felt. And of course, as I mentioned, even more in inland Mexico as well will feel impacts from her. And then, of course, talking about the rain, as she probably will go ahead and just move east. As you can see, so again, to kind of orientate you guys, this is California, so this is Baja California, this is Mexico. Definitely see heavier rain over there in Mexico. So there are people who could see up to 3 to 7 or 10 inches, more like, yeah, 10, I would say. Isolated areas of that, and definitely, more of the round line of 2 to 3 inches. And then, of course, so it shows Arizona will be getting, this is good for until next Thursday, which will be, oh no, not next Thursday. This will be until next Friday, September 12th. So that is good to know. So, obviously not all is going to be probably fed by her, but a good chunk of it will be. As you can definitely see, most of Arizona will be definitely getting under an inch, with some areas possibly getting a little bit over. Interesting enough, it looks like New Mexico, I should say, is definitely going to have more of a little bit wider areas that could be having isolated rain up to an inch or a little over. You can even see some of that over there in central Colorado. Texas, it looks like, again, over there more towards the center part of it and closer to the Mexico border. You guys will also have isolated between 1 to 2 inches. Most of them will be well below. And another interesting feature is to show how much rain is expected in the next 10 days off the East Coast. As you can see, that will be anywhere from like 2 to 5 inches of rain, or 7 even. So I'm not sure if that's because of the feature that we'll be talking about next, which will be the future Gabrielle, what they expect her to do. We'll talk a little bit about what they're thinking as well. But it's just also interesting to kind of know and see that. Now for Kiko. Obviously, Kiko is the storm that is more in the center of Pacific currently, and she will be likely impacting Hawaii. So if you are in Hawaii or know people in Hawaii, please make sure you share this video, let people know. Right now is now the time to kind of start getting a little bit more ready, prepared for it, just because, it's better to prepare now before everyone else is. And we want to do that. Luckily, she is a relatively small hurricane. I mean, even at one point, Lorena was a little bit bigger than her. She has a small eye, as she will continue to weaken as well. She's currently a Category 4. The good news, she should weaken before she goes anywhere close to Hawaii, which is good news for them. But, you know, you can still have to worry about even these small and mighty hurricanes as well. Just ask poor Miami and Homestead after dealing with Hurricane Andrew, which again, I don't think Kiko will be anything like Andrew, but it's still worth noting that we should still take smaller hurricanes more serious. Um, let's go ahead and look at some of this other stuff. Okay, so for the cone, which again, the cone just indicates where the center of her eye could go. So do you think she'll continue to maintain major category status until Sunday morning or sometime after Sunday morning to early Monday morning. And then thinking that she will get closer to being a tropical storm as she gets closer to Hawaii. You will notice some of the islands are in the cone of uncertainties, meaning the center could go anywhere over it. This cone will shrink, so between now and then we will see it shrink down, get more of a direction of where they think she will track. Again, you do see she's kind of relatively small. Her hurricane force winds are in the center, extending out, and then of course tropical storm was the bigger area. So we will see what she does with that. So let's see what her current wind speed is. Her current wind speed is 130 miles per hour, so she has actually gone down in speed a little bit, which is good news. She's currently moving west at 9 miles per hour. And it does look like that Hawaii will start feeling impacts probably realistically Monday evening until Tuesday morning if this track holds true, which is likely to hold true to a certain degree. It might change a little bit, wiggle around a little bit, but should follow pretty closely to what this is. Like I said, the cone will shrink down more to what the solid one is over here. And everyone's favorite topic, which is, of course, the spaghetti plots. As you can see, there is a lot of consensus that she will be going over and tracking close or over the islands of Hawaii. So, unfortunately, it does seem like that will be, again, most likely the case. Definitely different rangings of intensity, but it did definitely have a little bit of a tighter cluster than probably what Hawaii would wish to have at this point, ahead of her coming closer to them. And this is for the Euro. GFS this year, which is the American model, has definitely been interesting. Definitely has more of a spread. I've noticed with most storms, and again, you kind of see that here with Kiko, Hurricane Kiko. But again, does look like that she'll be impacting. That's suggesting that she will be definitely impacting Hawaii, the islands there as well. So again, right now it's time to make sure that you are getting your kits ready, have your shelf-stable food, charging up your batteries, getting your gas, getting all your important documents together, making sure you're following for updates and news. Um, you can follow me for continuous updates as she continues to track closer. We'll continue to watch and give you guys updates, especially if I do find out anything about any evacuations. I will be sharing it on my Facebook page. My Facebook page is linked onto my YouTube page as well for you to be able to follow for those a little bit more frequent updates. And then, of course, I will also try to post them in my community tab here on YouTube as well. So make sure you share, like, and subscribe if you want to continue to get more updates on this. But again, it looks like Hawaii will not be escaping this one, which again is kind of unusual. Hawaii doesn't get hit too often, which is good. And I know some people might think, well, Hawaii doesn't get hit very often. When it does, it's particularly nasty. Well, this one looks like it should be a little bit better, at least, getting closer to tropical storm strength. Could be a strong tropical storm, which can still knock out power and everything along those lines, again, which is why you should, still make sure that you are getting your preps ready and everything set up for when she does track closer. Again, it could change. The intensity models could change between now and then. between now and Tuesday, so we'll continue to watch that. But right now, it looks like at least it'll just be a tropical storm. But again, it does look like Hawaii will definitely be feeling impacts from Hurricane Kiko, or will be then Tropical Storm Kiko. Now move over to across the oceans to across the U.S. into North America, Central and South America, into the Atlantic. We are now talking about what was previously known as the Area of Interest Tropical Wave in the Atlantic, and it is now officially 91L. National Hurricane Center did designate that earlier this morning, so we do getting closer definitely to becoming something. This is a satellite presentation of it. As you can see, does look like there might be at least two competing areas of possible, well, three really, if you think about over here, two convection. Um, so we'll see what it does, and make sure that you know if it's going to get stacked, where is it going to get stacked, where is the center going to form. If you do look at the winds view, which I do sometimes share on here, I did not pull up for today's video, you'll definitely notice that it used to be more elongated and it is getting more circular now, more in terms of what you typically think will a tropical system forming. So we're definitely getting closer to Gabrielle being born, essentially. But of course, you know, we do need to talk about there have been some changes to where the modeling thinks she'll go, and some hard realities that we may have to be facing as we continue to track the journey of soon to be Gabrielle. And before we get there, I did not realize I had that in front of the key messages for Hurricane Kiko, so I do apologize. So again, jump back to the Pacific. Kiko is forecast to approach Hawaiian Islands during early next to middle of the week. Of course, risk of direct impacts from wind and rainfall are increasing, but it's too early to know what the magnitude or the exact location of where you guys will feel it. So again, you know, continue to monitor. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe as we continue to update where she goes going next. And let's go ahead and oh yes, this I think I shared this earlier. No, this is the Atlantic. Okay, so again, another satellite view to go back to the Atlantic. Another satellite view of Invest 91L. So it's kind of over here. Generally, we still see some cloudiness and some storms trying to form over there closer to Florida right now, and Cuba and the Bahamas, something to continue to monitor. There's some concern that we might see something trying to kind of develop closer over here to South America and Central America, but right now, again, that's not an official area of interest by the National Hurricane Center, but this is the area we should be continuing monitoring. And as you can see, back this way, we do have more monsoons getting ready to exit Africa on into the Atlantic. So I'm sure we'll be watching more, and getting busier and watching more in the coming weeks as we continue to climb the peak of hurricane season. Okay, so again, this is Invest 91L. Again, it's a broad area of low pressure. It's becoming better organized, as I mentioned earlier. So, as I mentioned earlier, it was elongated previously, starting to get a little bit more circular, spherical, if you will, and which is what you want. So, what is necessary to become a tropical system. And of course, you know, it's getting better organized with shower and thunderstorm activity as well. Favorable conditions for continuous development as it moves right now slowly at 5 to 10 miles west across the eastern and central tropical Atlantic, as they mentioned here, which we'll touch next. Obviously, the Antilles, so that's the lesser and even the greater Antilles, and of course the Leeward Islands, should monitor the system. If you've noticed, again, I didn't get a posted video yesterday, but if you actually paid attention and followed the previous video, if you do remember that previously we did see them having it turning up more towards out in the middle of the sea. As you can see, that has changed, so it's more southern and going more west. The modeling is suggesting that it might not have the escape hatch that Aaron and Ferdinand did. Of course, right now it's too early to tell, but again, interest in the Caribbean should definitely be paying attention. Lesser Antilles, and of course, the Virgin Islands. We should all be watching this and monitoring this closely as it continues. So right now, 60% chance of becoming a tropical depression or tropical storm, which by tropical storm, it would be officially named Gabrielle, 60% for 48 hours and 90% for the next 7 days. So probably by this weekend, it's safe to say we will probably see Gabrielle officially being born in the Atlantic. Oh, again, this is for Kiko. I'm so sorry. I had these stacked better. So as you can see, so for Hawaii, you guys would start getting tropical. Earliest reasonable time for tropical storm force winds would be Monday for you guys. Okay, back to Invest 91L. So these are some of the spaghetti plots that everybody loves to share. So love to share them as well. Ignore all these other little squiggly lines that you see, particularly over there off the coast of East Coast of America. Obviously, we know there is, something that might try form over here closer to Mexico. Some stuff trying to show a little bit of development, possibly for the Gulf, but we're talking mostly about this cluster right here. So this was from earlier today for the euro, and as you can see, there again more of them. There's still quite a few that try to turn it out, but there's still a good cluster taking them closer toward the Leeward Islands, and the Lesser Antilles, and of course even like Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic. So that is something worth monitoring as well to see. Then also you'll see that with the GFS, the American model. So again, you see the American model going a little bit crazy with its imaginary storms. It's kind of notorious for that. But again, we're talking about this cluster. So you do see some trying to give it the open hatch to escape in Atlantic like Aaron and Fernan, and some do take it more. A lot of them do take it more north of the islands, but still getting too close to comfort. One thing we do know, models will change between now and then. It won't be approaching that until like this time next week. So we have plenty of time to watch and follow, obviously. But the trend of west and north south is concerning, and we should be, talking about the possibility that we may be talking about a hurricane approaching um, the islands, the Caribbean, and the Bahamas, and even the East Coast at this point. So that's something to continue to monitor. Um, and then this is some just more recent track guidance. So this is for the euro. So you can definitely see this one versus. So this was from earlier today. You see quite a bit that took it. This was the symbols, taking it north west. Open to sea, and these are showing it definitely going more west, northwest, pulling it closer to the Antilles, as you can see over here, and the Virgin Islands. Again, this was a euro, and then the more recent um, GFS. Again, like I mentioned earlier with some of the other storms, GFS is kind of all over the place a little bit. It doesn't really seem this year to have a good grasp on, giving us a very strong consensus. But again, it does show a good chunk of it showing it going closer to the Antilles and a little bit north west of it, or northeast, I should say, of it. So continue to monitor and wait and see. Right now, the important part is, we know Gabrielle's on her way. We know we'll probably have her officially formed by this weekend. Um, with it still being, like a week out before it gets anywhere near even the islands in the Caribbean, we have plenty of time to watch and monitor because a low, hasn't stacked and formed fully. Of course, the models are a little bit all over the place with intensity and even track. Once, that does the low does form and they're able to start sampling the atmosphere and getting that into computer models, we will again get a better idea of where she'll go and what her track will be. So right now it's just kind of, sit, wait, and monitor and kind of see what you're seeing the trends. Again, trend again is more westward than south and west than what we would have liked to seen. But that's something that does happen. It's that time of the year where we do see the southeast coast being more in line of getting a hurricane or a tropical system impacting it. So all the people earlier who are saying, well, it's going to be a fish storm. This season's going to be, a dud. It's still too early to tell that. Could it still go out to open sea? Absolutely. I mean, anything is possible with these storms. Like you never really know. But right now, the modeling and the trend of the modeling is suggesting that that's becoming less likely. Again, like I said, the models will change between now and then. Uh, how much, how little, time will tell us. So you are in the Lesser Antilles, and of course, interest in the Southeast U.S. as well. Just continue to monitor. Again, you can continue to follow me here on YouTube and on Facebook for updates, and feel free to share with people that you know. Again, any any warnings or watches that do get issued, I will be one of the first to go ahead and share that with you all. Of course, any evacuation information that might be necessary as it approaches closer to the U.S. If you remember the video from Tuesday, I did show kind of thinking why it was going to be tracking more west, which again, it seems like the model is kind of hinting at. Let me go ahead and get that pulled up real quick to show you guys. Okay, so this is what I was referring to on Tuesday's video. This is the 8 to 14 day temperature outlook for the next 2 weeks. And as you can see, it does show it being below normal for the mid-Atlantic to New England. And my thinking of why we see it track more west is if we do get a low and it doesn't swing far enough south down over around here and it stays more up this way, it could go offshore and block an escape hatch, especially if the Bermuda High comes in stronger. Currently, it's been pretty weak this season, which has allowed like Aaron and Fernan to make its turn out to sea, the turns out to sea. But again, can't count on that being the case always and forever. So looks like the modeling's hinting that that's what they're kind of thinking right now too, that we'll either have fronts further up north on the East Coast that could help keep it from, turning up north and or heading their way possibly. And then of course, if the Bermuda High is stronger and comes more west, closer to the East Coast, that would also help block that. So again, it's just to monitor. So updates, obviously. Right now, obviously, if you are in Mexico, make sure you follow your authorities, pay attention to your weather people, have your kits ready, get your plans finalized before the end of tonight as your weather continues to deteriorate due to Tropical Storm Lorena making landfall or getting close to making landfall for you guys tomorrow. If you're in Hawaii, continue to monitor and watch for Hurricane Kiko. Does look like that you guys will be likely feeling some kind of impacts as to what magnitude, what strength, how much wind, how much rain, are you going to get a lot of surf, anything along those lines. Still too early to say. You guys would start feeling impacts earliest by the end of Monday, so like 3 days from now. So again, it's not a bad idea now to make sure that you are getting your kits ready, your information ready, your plans, and make sure everything's charged up and ready to go. And obviously continue to follow a trusted source so you do get updates on things such as when a warning or watch is issued for you guys, as well as anything along the lines of evacuations. And then obviously to go ahead and talk about tropical Atlantic's obviously area of interest. 91L, as you can see, our area of investigation. We do think this will be coming Gabrielle. We'll probably have her by this weekend. We'll start getting a better idea then of when and where, especially once we can get the hurricane chasers to go in and start flying in and around sampling. So if you are in the Lesser Antilles, take heed, take note. It's not a bad idea to make sure again that you have your everything you need ready to go, your paperwork all together, making sure you have your, kit ready, and everything along those lines as well. And of course, interest west of that. So Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, and Haiti, Cuba, Bahamas, and of course Florida all up probably until like around Virginia. Should continue to monitor us closely too as we are seeing that trend of a more western movement. So thank you guys for tuning in. Again, please feel free to share, subscribe, like. I want to get the word out and help bring awareness and raise awareness for people with these storms without the hype. I like to cover, all the possibilities. As I mentioned, again, as an example, this, 91L could turn out to sea, or it could continue to, see the trend of it tracking west and it could get closer to land. We just don't know. It's too early to tell. But I do like to share important information and, realistic ideas of what could happen and examples of what could happen, as well as raise awareness for those who are being impacted, such as what we're seeing with Tropical Storm Lorena, and then, of course, what we'll see with Hurricane Kiko later on next week as well. So, thank you guys for tuning in. Hopefully, I don't jinx myself when I'll say I'll post another update tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys then.